What's up, guys? It's Zach, the Celtics guy here, and welcome to another episode of Zach's Legal Lessons. This is episode number 7. And today, in episode 7, I wanted to talk about another legal issue. And today, I want to talk about the issue of extended fines that are given in most jurisdictions for exceeding speed limits in school zones and in work/construction zones. And in most jurisdictions that I'm familiar with, like, the UK, Canada, the US, Australia, you name it, they usually extend the penalties and fines for speeding in school zones and work zones as opposed to other locations that do not have like lowered speed limits for children or workers and so on. So, what are my thoughts on that whole thing with regards to extended fines and whatnot? It's a good idea in theory, except oftentimes the penalties are not strict enough. Because if you want my true and honest opinion about what I think about school zone speeding and work zone speeding, which I don't even know which one is even worse. I mean, some people make the argument that school zone speeding is worse because it affects children and it could possibly endanger children, and then some people argue that work zone speeding is worse because work zones are often narrower and more crowded, and they have more like certain different road conditions, like where they're closing off lanes and they're doing construction work and so on, so that's more dangerous. I don't think one is more worse than the other one, honestly. I mean, I think they're both pretty egregious. I think they both need to be very severely and heavily penalized. I think they need to be penalized by at least $1,000 in fines. That's just me. I think it should be at least that much. I don't think it should be anything less. I mean, maybe $500 like bare minimum, but I don't think it should be anything less because, I agree with doubling the fine. I mean, double, triple it. I don't care because it's a very, very serious offense that needs to be dealt with very severely, and it's not something that people should get away with. I mean, that's not something that you should give anybody a break for. There's lots of things that I believe in giving people, warnings or breaks for and so on, but not work zone speeding, definitely not school zone speeding because it's very, very reckless to do so, because you're endangering the lives of children when you exceed the speed limit in a school zone, especially when there's school in session and the lights are flashing. And then in work zones, you're endangering the lives of government workers who are working to improve the roads and infrastructure. So that's a very serious offense in itself. And you see these work, and plus work zones are much more narrow, crowded, and so on, and they warrant more caution because they're oftentimes narrower, because a lot of times they're closing off lanes, they're putting barrels and cones onto one lane to close off a lane to pave the roads or to fix the roads or whatever, and then or oftentimes they're like not that far away from like the lane marking or the road, so people need to be going a lot slower than they would in other areas. And that could also fall under a law that, you're going too fast for the road conditions in this particular area. Yeah, except it's worse than that. It's like a form of, I would say it's a form of operating to endanger, in my opinion, because of how dangerous it is. I mean, I think it should be punished very heavily with, like I said, at least maybe like $500 to $1,000 in fines, and depending on the circumstances, it should be punished as, maybe depending on how fast the person was going, should be considered a form of reckless driving or driving to endanger, or what they call it in the Anglo-Saxon nations, dangerous driving or dangerous operation of a motor vehicle or whatever. So I know Australia punishes school zone speeding particularly severely, and same with roadwork speeding as well, which I agree with because I think it should be. There's no reason that it shouldn't be, because a road work area or in a school area is a particularly vulnerable area where workers are present, more people are present, children are present, and so on. So therefore, it needs to be severely punished, and people who do it should pay a hefty price for it. Maybe even have their license suspended for maybe 20 to 30 days or something like that. I mean, it's a very serious thing, and there have been many times I've seen people blast through school zones and work zones. It's not acceptable. It's very, very dangerous, and it's very, very reckless and careless and irresponsible, and the people that do it need to be held accountable for it. And people just need to be held accountable for their actions in general. So that's really all about I have to say for now. I just wanted to talk about this little legal lessons with all of you guys, and I was just wanting to get on here and just talk about that. But this concludes another legal lessons episode from Zach the Celtics guy, and I hope that everyone's doing well, and I will talk to you guys next time. See you all again in the next video. More stuff on the way coming up soon. This concludes another episode of Zach the Celtics guys legal lessons. This is episode number 7, and I'll see y'all again in the next video. See y'all again next time. Peace out.